Ladies and gentlemen, this is another segment of Village Talks with your friend Damien Howard here. And hey, we just will go ahead and continue on our Southeast Coast trip. We were recently with our brother from 100 Black Men from the Virginia area. And now, y'all, we are in North Carolina with the SAGE mentoring program. So, y'all know Village Talks is oriented towards inspiration and education for those of us who are in the space of youth development. So often we find ourselves in silos doing this work, and it's very important for us to find our village, find our community, and might this podcast be a space where you could be encouraged and you could be knowledgeable that, yeah, you ain't got to fight this alone. You got people like Damien, you got people like Toni, who you're going to meet in a minute, who are freedom fighters doing this good work as well. So, Toni, go ahead, jump in there and introduce yourself, please.
All right. Hey, everyone. So like you said, my name is Toni. I am the Assistant Executive Director with SAGE Inc. SAGE stands for Saving Adolescent Girls Everywhere. Little backstory about me. I am North Carolina bred, grew up in Southeast Raleigh, graduated from the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I do have my BA in sociology. I'm currently attending University of Houston with pursuing my MSW, so my master's in social work. And right now, I'm doing the hard work with Sage, making sure that we meet every week and serve these girls, give them a safe space, give them effective programming, and just make sure they're creating those bonds amongst themselves and amongst the people in the community. So yeah, that's quick to the point back about me. I'm gonna pass the mic back to you and
Okay, I'm gonna take that boy then. Since you passing it back, let me go ahead and take it then. So listen, I want to know a little bit more about the girls y'all serve. I want to know a little bit more about you all's why. Why do you all deem it important that the young girls of Raleigh, North Carolina are able to get access to mentorship? What is it about y'all that's like, nah, we gonna save young girls home first? And it seems when you get put that E on the end, that maybe you all's aspiration is to even go beyond. I think it was Wade County that you spoke of earlier. So yeah, what's give me some more about y'all why and the girls y'all serve.
that why is the lack of resources, the lack of access to resources, to mentors, um, and to programming that is relevant and culturally responsive, especially to the things that they're going through. Me personally, my why is I've been a young Black girl that grew up in Southeast Raleigh, Section 8, product of the Boys and Girls Club. And oftentimes I didn't have mentors that looked like me. Oftentimes I didn't have mentors that went through certain experiences that I identified with that could teach me how to navigate. So that big why is making sure that the girls have someone that can guide them and navigate them through. We serve ages from 12 to 18. So from 12 to 18, have someone there to guide them through middle school to graduation, through whatever pathway they decide to choose, making sure they have someone there to get them not only through the finish line, not only out of survival mode, but into thriving mode. That is the why.
I
Um,
love it. I got a 15-year-old daughter who is a freshman in high school. And as much as I care about mentorship, I have just struggled to connect my baby to a mentor. And in me saying that, I call it out because, an interesting dynamic happened around middle school years where she started to get a liking to boys, uh,
mhm.
which which isn't a surprise at all to you or anybody else here. Listen, this ain't a knock on nobody, but I was just elated that first and foremost, my daughter like boys, right? Because that's my personal preference. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And that's kind of really the way in our faith experience that, she was raised. But I call that out because, sometimes, and the reason why mentorship is so important for me, even for my daughter, is like they need that space outside of their own house, outside of the safety and comfort of their parents, whereas
Mhm.
they could be themselves, they could talk about changes and the way they think. Um, like for instance, even if my daughter would have said I like girls, okay? honestly, her dad probably wouldn't have been the best person to speak to. I'm going to love her. I'm going to embrace her, but it's just something that's out of the orientation for even how I think, right? So I guess I'm saying all that to say, like, particularly around that middle school age, what would you say is going on with young girls that makes mentorship uniquely important?
For young girls and being a woman myself too, it is being the version of me now that have gone through girlhood. Um, been the young lady that went through womanhood ultimately, and being able to identify like those uh you spoke on being a father, right?
Hmm.
And having to help her navigate it, but also certain conversations that can only be had by a woman, like getting your period, right?
Mm,
The feelings of PMS, hormones, like in boys, what that means for the identity, self-identity,
mm,
like in girls, and what that means,
yeah.
even moving forward. How faith comes into the picture as well. Uh,
Hmm.
and it always goes back to identity too, right? Me being a Black woman, and even speaking to you, and I identify as lesbian.
Hmm.
This is so crazy because we just had the girl talk with the girls, and I had to give them advice on dating boys. Um,
Mm,
when losing your virginity becomes the topic of the conversation, what that
hmm.
looks like. And even me being in a position and being able to speak to them, they were able to receive much of what I said,
You said they
because
were able.
they were. And that's
Absolutely.
what kind of makes it funny too.
Yeah.
Because having a conversation about boys and them interacting with me daily and
Hmm.
being able to pick up sexuality or not. You know, I grew up Baptist or whatever, but
Hmm.
um, people identify with the person you are, your character, how you experience. I'm really big on protecting girlhood and protecting
Mm.
womanhood, regardless of the sexuality, because I identify as a Black woman. And so all of those experiences, getting your period, Black culture, throw that in there, getting your hair braided, um, wigs, makeup, what nail culture means, what jewelry culture means to the girls. I'm still able to bring that because that's still a part of me, regardless. And so even having those difficult conversations when it comes to the feelings they're starting to have towards other young men, it's just like
Yeah.
bring self confidence and self esteem
Mm.
to the conversation, right? What does it mean when you starting to feel X, Y, and Z, and how does that relate to you, right? And how does it relate to your interests?
Hmm.
Do you like him because he looks cute, or do you like him because he's kind? You know, and then and even those conversations is, what is your relationship with your father, right?
Mm.
And then it's just like you can approach those conversations so many different ways. And even as I'm speaking to you, starting to reflect on my own experience with the girls, because this literally happened last week. Our
Okay,
girl,
so bring us into that session. Like, what was that session,
yeah,
and what was it all about, and how did you all kind of get to a point where, because it seemed like it was some deep, real talk, and of course, there's confidentiality that you're going to protect and all of those things. But bring us into a sage session. What happened last
into
week?
a stage section. Oh,
Yeah,
oh
don't try to hide now. Don't try
God,
to
okay.
hide now.
So we actually set up an anonymous link. So
Yeah.
whatever questions that they had, um, they could drop the questions in there. We wouldn't know. And
You all do that every week, or was it just this particular week?
this program. So
Okay.
we're going to try to do it every month, and then we'll get into that too. With the if you probably drop a question, and I'll tell you why. I'll come back to it. But pretty much we have an anonymous link for the girls to drop their questions in. And the first thing that came up is, when is the best time to lose your virginity? And I'm like, oh Lord, because this is
Yeah.
three of us. Three of us in there. Me, Tatiana, the founder of Sage,
Yeah.
other staff, and I'm like, I would have been the best, only simply because um, the way the girls do relate to me, and my background. So I already told y'all I have the sociology, social work. I work in behavioral health as well, and I've had a lot of conversations amongst different groups of girls.
Mm.
Same way I'm a product of the Boys and Girls Club. I was also a staff at the Boys and Girls Club. So a lot of these conversations and the experience and skill set that I had kind of helped me navigate the conversation amongst the girls. But we're going to jump into it. The virginity question. That goes back to the importance of, and this is how I tackled it too. um, what it means, one, the importance of keeping your virginity and the importance of knowing the right time to lose your virginity when it
Mm,
crosses the
mm.
and the risks and consequences that come with it.
Wait, before you start, I know you told them girls to wait until they're 32, right?
Or I said 26, if we're being completely honest. And you wouldn't believe the looks I received. I was like, oh, too much.
Yeah.
But 26. And I said 26 because that frontal lobe. That frontal
Yeah.
lobe
Wow.
connected around 26. But more so like that conversation is layered and
Yeah.
peer pressure.
Yeah. Yep.
Is
And when
layered
and when you say
in
peer pressure, does that include what they saying in social media and all of that
what
too?
they're seeing in social
Yeah.
media,
Yeah.
um, friend groups,
Yeah.
TV, you know,
Yeah.
so music,
Yeah.
music
Megan
and
them, sexy them, Lotto them, like the over sexualization that
yeah,
sometimes is in our music. Yeah.
yeah, and the honest question and amongst girls too, like it's just well, when is the right time? At what point do you start acting on these feelings? And what does relationships look like? So I like had to sit with it and the value of your virginity and what it means
Mm,
to hold it, to keep it, to honor it as well.
mm.
And you can take that. We have a diverse group of girls. So we do have girls that understand you wait till marriage, and then we have girls that understand you wait till you in a good relationship. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what they've seen. But it's just more so. This is self confidence, self esteem, how you view yourself, and how you honor your body, and
You
what
know
it
what?
means.
What I appreciate this because I'm hearing you, and the more I hear you talk, what I keep hearing you say is I hear the question that's on the surface level, but let's go deeper to a sense of identity. Why
Identity.
are you asking this question? Why are you liking that boy or girl? Why are you wanting to get into these things? Is it because of the pressure that's coming from external sources, or it's coming from an inner place of you being super confident and clear? And it almost seems like, okay, there's going to be differences with the way that you and the young lady and or your other leaders and some of the young ladies approach things, differences with how they approach things, as you said a moment ago. But your whole thing is really helping them to understand, even in our differences, if it's coming from a place of your internal truth, listen, let me get out of the way. I might not agree with it, right? But I'm not going to bash you on that if it feels like authentically it's tied. Like again, like at the end of the day, we got to be super careful when it comes to sexuality questions and things of that nature, because in no way, shape, or form are we ever going to present like we're promoting young people to be sexually involved. That's not what I'm saying. So I want to be clear on that. And I know that that's not what you're saying. But anyway, all things considered, it's like, yeah, I hear what the question is, and we're going to give space and opportunity for you all to explore that. We're going to give space and opportunity for y'all to be real and know that this is a safe space for y'all to be real. But then, like you say, we're going to point back into those deeper things and those parts about who you are, right? That should be the real thing behind why you're making these decisions. So I really appreciated that.
And also being able to, and you can hear me question myself a lot too, as I'm having conversations, whether it's with you or with the girls. And because self-reflection, that introspection is very important. Because a lot of times what happen is if you're not asking those questions to yourself, like how are they going to receive it in a way that it resonates with them? So I'm like, all right, I get back to the question, and it matters too. So um, just to jump back on track, valuing your body, what it means to share with someone, the consequences. So I got into STDs, I got into the peer pressure. Boys, once they do, you know, you guys cross that path, what can happen, the outcomes, the likely outcomes, pregnancy, right, abortion, those deep conversations where it's just like it sparks questions in their head, and it's like those questions right there, because you don't know the answer, you should probably wait.
Probably slow up.
Right?
And let's
But
talk.
it's
Let's talk about this one though. And again,
mhm.
not just boys, girls, or whatever your orientation is. What about when you give yourself to somebody and then they immediately neglect you? You give yourself to somebody and then they see you in school the next day and act like you just one of the homies, right? And nothing changed. I just could see that really doing something to the psyche of a young person, and particularly right now we're talking about young girls, if they don't have that assured sense of self in the way that you're talking about.
Right.
All right, we're gonna get off this topic.
Yeah, no. But building confidence, and a lot of our programs build self confidence too.
Oh wow.
So I'm literally trying to filter out a lot of their questions and
Yeah.
giving the answer and a lot of the comments that were made, but being able to pour into each other, being able to have people around you that could see you too. And then the importance of dating. So then I had to take it back to dating. Like dating is complicated as is. You
Yeah.
think about dating as a 12-year-old, dating as a 13-year-old, dating as a 15-year-old, and even dating in college. Those are a bunch of dramatic experiences. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That are important too, but are a reflection of your growth and your development. And oftentimes, like if dating is hard for you without sex, dating is gonna be even harder when you involve it and everything that it comes with. And that's something that we do need to talk about often too. You as a father, you with them as well, from a boy perspective and what it means, because they want to hear it, but they want to hear it from a place where it's just like, don't tell me no, tell me why.
Yeah.
Um,
And as you tell me why, you can be real with, just like I said earlier, this is my preference. This is
mhm,
how I'm raised. The way I hopefully said it was, again, clarity that I ain't trying to offend nobody. I ain't trying to say
mhm,
people wrong if you don't believe how I'm wrong. But that's what I love about the authenticity of mentorship spaces, that once you build that trust, I ain't even really got to preach at you because you already know what I'm about. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And when I keep showing up, that confidence that I exude, that character that I exude, that intelligence that I exude, it inevitably is going to start like infusing into their psyche as something that they look up to. So, nah,
yeah.
man, I know y'all doing some powerful work over there at Sage. Talk to me about your thoughts concerning the concept of village. It seems like within you all's space, you said it's three adults and it's the young ladies, that there really already implicitly is some sense of community, some sense of we in this together. I want you to just kind of tease that out a little bit more. What does village mean to you?
Survival, not being alone. Um, especially as it pertains to Black and Brown and marginalized communities, right? We haven't gotten to where we at. I haven't gotten to where I am by myself, and without different people being able to pour and look out for me, without extended family that I didn't share blood with, and people that looked after me. So whenever I think about village, I'm like survival. That's the way a lot of communities survive. Not one person alone. Effort from different networks, of people, extended family, and those that identify with the community itself to survive. Like I hope I answered that the best way, but when I think of it, it was just survival, not being alone. And I always think of it takes a village to raise a child, right? And what that
Yeah.
means.
You got real deep when I asked you this question. I mean, you sat back for a second and you hit me with the survival. I like that.
No,
I like I like that.
because it is. You think of a village as it is survival.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'll pass the mic. What do you think it is? Village talks. You're not having to talk by yourself. You and tackling tough conversations and
Yeah.
entering into who's doing what on which coast. That's the village in itself, building
Yeah.
that network in order to survive. And then we get into what are we surviving? A lack of access to resource. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
Um,
Lack of access to resources, education not being equal based on where kids are raised or where they come from. Single parent households that a lot of our kids are being raised in. To your point, over sexualization that they're exposed to. So yeah, nah, I hear you, right? To be able to have nurturing people, and that's not just adults, but then even your peers that you got that access to that you can pull on and lean on in every time. Yeah, nah, I resonate very deeply with what it is that you're saying. Tell me about a time where this whole concept of village became really important for one of the young girls that you all serve, whereas you've seen them be able to leverage the space that you all have created that's helped them to have a particular breakthrough in their own lives.
So I'm gonna have you repeat that question one time so I can break it down.
Yeah, so you got three adults and these girls.
And
That's a
it's more of
village.
us. It was just three of us in that conversation.
Okay, four, and these girls.
Mhm.
And when y'all come together, I guess what I'm imagining, man, part, that's a village in action right there. You know what I mean? Community that's being built around these girls. So I'm really inviting you for some storytelling right now. Talk to
Mhm.
us about a time where the village was activated and a girl desperately needed that village and was able to kind of latch on to the power of the village and it helped her in a way that you can remember.
Um, we did the what is it from? We got it the line when you get on the line. Step up if you've ever been through X, Y, and Z. Step back. Um, Step up if you ever experienced depression. Step back. Step up if you ever considered self harm. Step back. And oftentimes that exercise in particular, um, it creates this, I mean, outside of community, but like this, it's like and I'm struggling to really like capture it, but I guess a sense of community amongst the girls in which they look around to see who's going through what. And in those moments, even without me or another staff member stepping in, we're able to watch the girls step up and actually go hold each other up in those situations, especially when it pertains to self harm and depression. And watching the girls speak light into each other. Um, no one in particular, it could be more than one, you know. But seeing how they're like, oh, I didn't know you were going through X, Y, and Z. Girl, you, wow, like your hair is really good. I would have never, you know, but like seeing them actively pour into each other, um, uplift each other, empower each other, and then the bonds that's created from that one exercise um, has this effect of where it's like we got you. It's like without us saying or without us having to teach, you need to be your sister's keeper. It automatically, you know, manifests itself. I don't. I'm like,
No, no, yeah, that's perfect because your whole thing is I ain't got to tell you I'm my sister's keeper if I can show you by the way that I am proximate to you and proximate to the issues that you allow me to understand you're faced with. So I'm gonna tell you, you got this way of transforming into a whole different like character in some of your answers. So I didn't know what you was doing, but I felt it when you was like step up, step back. It took you like to the third round for me to get it. But when you said step up, if you've attempted to harm yourself, I viscerally felt that. And I ain't never seen any of your girls. This is the first time even you and I have met. But the daddy in me, the mentor in me, the educator in me wanted to go and even embrace that young girl. Or, you know what I'm saying? That had to step up right then and there. Oh my gosh. Like, I could just imagine being in that space and feeling the impact of experiencing a young girl who said, life has gotten so hard, depression has gotten so unreal and so unbearable that I tried to hurt myself and or I have done self-harm to myself. So no, that was actually the visual I was looking for because it went beyond you using words to create a visual. I literally felt the impact of that moment. So I deeply appreciate you, Toni, just for kind of helping to invite us into one of the exercises that you all use. I will say, you from your sociological or sociology perspective, and then also now with your master's studies, you have a unique lens into how to be careful about these trauma-informed practices. And I don't think that people need to just too hastily or quickly do an exercise like that. But I do think that even in you sharing that, it really starts to shape our imagination as far as how we can start to have tough conversations and create, again, community around the young girls. Not that an adult always has to be the one to rush in
Mhm.
and give them encouragement, but I think it's even that much more powerful when one of their sisters, like, Dad, girl, I went through that too. You understand? You are not alone. That's what I heard too. You are not alone. You are not the only one that's facing stuff. Life be life for a lot of us. And look at me. I'm self-aware. I'm navigating this thing and I'm stronger than I ever been. Step up, step back. I hear you.
Other than that, always practice humility. You know,
Yeah,
if anything, I thank God for who I am all the time.
yeah,
But in being so rooted and grounded in humility, you know, that that the girls can actually pick up on it, you know, and learn from it and embody it too. And I watch it, and it's just like I always go in, and I'm like, man, if we enter a lot of um, conversations and even like teaching dynamics and even mentorship relationships, practicing humility, that's usually where that bond and that connection starts, right? Humility forces authenticity. And then authenticity forces real conversations, but compassionate and careful conversations, um, and mindful conversations, and that produces actual um, solutions to
yeah,
anything, to problems,
yeah,
um, to confusion, to misunderstandings. And so, yeah, it's and what you see whenever I go into it is because it's like, you know, I can see myself like shifting up the tongue. I'm
yeah,
like, oh, that's the version of me that they experience. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
no, but
That's what's up, though. That's what's up because there's a seriousness, but not a seriousness that's off-putting, a seriousness that says, I'm here for you right now, whether you like it or not. You understand? And I'm not playing with, I'm gonna tell you what I call it oftentimes when I create spaces for social and emotional
mhm,
development work is I say that the space is sacred. And you getting probably 55, 60% maybe of where Damien Howard can go. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? But when I'm in that sacred space, they getting a consistent 90, probably like too much, more than what I should be giving. But it's just like veins popping out of my neck sometimes. Cause I'm like, I just need y'all to get this thing right now. And I want y'all to want it as bad as I want it for you. It's sacred space. So I think that's where the shift comes from because you understand that it's almost like it's holy ground right now. Like it's transformation that's possible, life improvement and impact that's here for you. And I just want y'all to get it. I want to ask you a question.
Mhm.
You have you literally, not literally, but you are equipped with a magic wand. What would you do with that wand to impact positive change and or to see advancement and some of the good things that you already see that's going on? I love an orientation towards using that wand in a way that's going to be helpful for your girls. But if there's something else that you have top of mind, how are you going to use your magic wand, Toni?
Girls, and for the organization in itself, funding.
Yeah, that's real. That's
You
real.
know, and I just got through doing a research project as it pertains to SAGE programming and then evaluation of it, and problems that I identify, which is funding and access to funding,
Yeah.
uh, especially by BIPOC led
Yeah.
community organizations.
Hmm.
And add on being Tatiana Cooper, the founder of Sage, being Black and Hispanic, me assistant being being Black or being a Black woman. I mean, even the president of Sage being a Black woman and being able to navigate the challenges to get the organization the funding that it deserves in such a um, time where funding is being stripped already, when requirements are forcing organizations to prove um, how impactful they are without really understanding the communities that they were created to serve. Um, and I could go into detail, which the struggles that we're already experiencing when it comes to the infrastructure, when it comes to making sure that the networks that even you're able to pull together are thriving. That mentorship pipeline is efficient, is it can withstand a test of time, and can even evolve. That way, many of us will be able to reach the professional development that we seek as well, while still having that connection to the communities that we seek to serve. So funding and funding goes back to a lack of resources, the lack of access to the resources available,
Mm,
um, and that in turn impacts our girls,
yeah.
because oftentimes that impacts the weight that we already carry, and being real about it too. The weight that we already carry, most of us made it, and going back and giving back, having to navigate the challenges of securing funding so that they can have access to the resources that we fought to get for ourselves. It just can impact the workload, and oftentimes the amount of burnout, and burnout impacts mentor retention rates.
Mm.
You know, yeah, funding helps um, retain quality mentors that depend on. They have no choice but to depend on money in
Yeah.
these times. Realistically speaking,
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up because just me personally, and it's still a process whereas I'm trying to grow and develop
mm-hmm,
into a person who has no reservations when it comes to talking about the money that's necessary to do this work. You
mm-hmm,
know, as somebody who comes out of poverty, sometimes I feel like I'm out here begging again with my hand out anytime when I got to be real with people and be like, we need money. But, you know, there's other populations, as I've observed, that they don't have an issue saying this is what we need. To your point, the research has been conducted to be very clear on what the need is and why the need exists. And you're a researcher, so I know that you do your due diligence. So yeah, just want to continually encourage you as I encourage myself to always be bold and be clear and be well versed in how we talk about the need for money because ultimately it's about the impact that we want to see for these young girls and organizations like Sage being able to sustain
sustain
um,
the
through ever whatever the political climate is. So now this has been a great talk. We talked about sex a little bit more than I expected to. It's like
and
almost
now you should be ready to have that conversation.
ah.
Turn it. Oh,
No, I
or reach
appreciate
out.
that.
Reach out.
No,
Listen.
no, for real, because like I said, um, yeah, I'm not the person that I don't know. I don't feel well equipped to have a sex conversation with my daughter,
But
right? So to your point, you know, to have other girls and ladies that I can trust in her life, like her friendship network, but then beyond her friendship network, facilitators like you, is something that's kind of top of mind. So it was a pleasure meeting you for sure. It looks like you want to say something.
oh no, and just leveraging the networks
Yeah,
um, that you're already bringing shine to light to.
that's
Uh,
it.
Leveraging the networks and getting back to community too.
Mhm.
I think so often, like I say, being in a mindset of survival, we forget that we already equipped with each other enough to thrive. Um,
Mm,
so that looks like my daughter need to have that talk.
yeah,
I need to reach out to someone like Sage
yeah,
to help navigate the conversation, or at
yeah,
least give her the space where she can speak freely, and
yep,
they can bring it back to me in a way that I can digest it and move forward. But no, leveraging the networks, remembering that we are a community.
yeah. I love
And
that.
it does takes a village, and it may take a village across states, and
Mm,
but it takes a village.
mm.
We're all here for each other, and oftentimes we forget that. So it's making sure that we keep pouring into it, and we show up for each other where we can.
Yeah, I love that you said it may take a village across states because it got to be something to the fact that I'm on episode 25 and I'm meeting people from all across the United States,
Mhm.
and now even beyond. And you're not the only person. I'm not the only person that's trying to navigate financial raise and how to get the capital that's necessary for the work. I'm not the only person that, even as a mentor, knows that I have a child in my house that can use mentorship, right? So I love that tidbit that you asked that the village even extends beyond your own geography. Sometimes it's across states, it's across different regions, and that's okay. And that's actually brilliant to be able to tap into your network in that way. I want to give you the floor, Toni, for the final word. If there is a final word or as a part of your final word, tell us where we can find Sage. Let us know if there's anything else that we may have missed. But yeah, if you got like one last mic drop that you want to give us, I definitely want that to be what you end with. So the floor is yours, Toni.
Oh, and see, if you wouldn't have told me it was one last mic drop, I probably would have said something. We are stronger together.
Yeah, period.
Stronger together. Yes, period. That said, you can follow Sage at sage.inc on all platforms.
Okay.
Uh, and if you do, reach us at our website,
Okay.
www.sagegirls.net.
Okay.
You have a link where we are taking donations
That's it. That's real.
for our scholarships that we
Yeah.
give to every senior that graduates from our program.
Okay. I
26,
love it.
class of 2026. And
Y'all
yeah,
got a lot of
our
girls
strongest event.
graduating.
Yeah. This was actually our last class. Our
Yeah.
last class that graduated. And we got, I want to say, 3 or 4 seniors. We have a lot of sophomores this year, sophomores and juniors.
That's wonderful.
So,
All right, well, Toni, this has been great. And for our viewing audience, my village and your village, Toni, that's going to watch this, this has been another exciting episode of Village Talks. We know that you were both inspired and educated as you heard Toni and I literally just sit here and just have a friendly conversation. This is literally us meeting each other. And in doing that, since there's a kindred spirit about how we both care about young people, from a simple conversation, like I said, came some nuggets that literally has the ability to equip some of y'all to think maybe differently or to be further informed or empowered when you go to the field and do the work of supporting young people. So, with that, I appreciate y'all for joining. And until next time, peace out.